Hello students, welcome again. In today's lecture, we want to discuss The Pulley, a metaphysical poem written by George Herbert. See, when we talk about metaphysical poetry, we must remember John Donne, who is the pioneer, the founder of metaphysical school of poetry in the beginning of the 17th century. George Herbert was also an important leader of the movement of metaphysical poetry who lived in England in the beginning of the 17th century. The Pulley is an important religious poem which spreads a spiritual message to the mankind, and hundreds of critics are praising or appreciating George Herbert's art as a poet, particularly his art as a metaphysical poet. Here, one of the critics, T.S. Eliot, has rightly said that Herbert's poetry is not just a reflection of his own religious experience, okay, but it is a profound exploration of the human soul's relationship with the divine. So, in most of his poems, as you can see in these lines, T.S. Eliot says that in most of George Herbert's poems, you find these exploration of human soul's relationship with the divine, with the God. George Herbert, as I told you, is an outstanding, extraordinary genius in the field of writing metaphysical poetry. His all poems are, infused with deep spiritual thoughts, and he is known for his use of paradoxes, his use of intellectualism, his use of metaphors and imagery. This poem, The Pulley, is a fine example of the 17th century metaphysical poetry. In this poem, the poet has presented the complex, high serious philosophical ideas, thoughts in a very simple language, and he has tried to explain a very serious thought of how a person achieves salvation, how a person achieves spiritual height in his life. As far as the structure of this poem is concerned, then see, the whole poem is written in four stanzas, and each stanza is written in 5 lines. Okay, so in total there are 20 lines, and the rhyming scheme of all these stanzas is A B A B A. That means the first line rhymes with the third, and the third line rhymes with the fifth. Okay, the first and the fifth line consists of 6 syllables. That means there are 3 iambs. Okay, so you can call them iambic trimeter line. And the second, third, and fourth line, okay, they consist of 10 syllables. That's why you can say they are written in iambic pentameter line. Okay, the rhythm of the poem is da dum da dum da dum. That means the first syllable is unstressed or weak syllable, and the second one is stressed. Okay, that is what we see in all iambs. Now let us try to understand this poem stanza wise. In the first stanza, as you can see, there are 5 lines, and if you read the last words of each line, you see the last word is man, and this word rhymes with the last word of the third line, can, and the last word of the fifth line, span. So man, can, span. So A, the first line, third line, and the fifth line. In the same manner, you read the last word of the second line and the fourth line, buy and lie. So they are B and B. So you can say the rhyming scheme is A, B, A, B, A. Okay, as far as the number of syllables is concerned, you read the first line, when God at first made man. So there are 6 syllables. Okay, when God at first made man. So there are 6 syllables. But if you read the second line, hey, wing, a glass of blessings standing by. So there are 10 syllables, right? So this is a particular pattern which has been designed by George Herbert to write this poem. Now, as far as the meaning of this stanza is concerned, let's try to understand the meaning. The poem begins with this line: when God at first made man. We know that this world is created by God, created by Brahma. Okay, so God is the created, and when he created man, having a glass of blessings standing by, when he created man, he had a glass of blessings with him. And let us, said he, God said that, let us pour on him all we can. God thought that I have one glass of blessings, okay, and I want to pour this glass of blessings on my son, on this man. So he wanted to bless his son. Let the world's riches which dispersed lie contract into a span. God wanted to give all riches of the world, all richness of the world to his son called man. So in the first stanza, God creates man, God has a glass of blessings, and he wants to give all blessings, all richness of the world to his creation called man. Now you go to the second stanza again. The second stanza again, the rhyming scheme is A, B, A, B, A. You can say, see, weigh, stay, and lay. They are rhyming with one another, and in the same manner, pleasure and treasure, they are rhyming. So A, B, A, B, A. This is the rhyming scheme. The first line has 6 syllables and the second line has 10 syllables, and so on. This pattern is followed in all stanzas by George Herbert in this poem. Now, what does the poet wants to explain in this stanza? So let me explain this to you. So strength first made a way. Now God is having one glass of blessings. Okay, he wanted to give all blessings to the man, so he was pouring this glass on the man, and first came strength. So God gave us power, God gave us strength, and then beauty flowed. God gave us beauty also, then wisdom, okay, then honor, and then pleasure. So all these things are gifted by God to us. Okay, when almost all was out, God made us stay. So he gave away everything. God gives us strength, gives us beauty, gives us wisdom, honor, and pleasure. When almost the glass was empty, perceiving that alone of all his treasure rest in the bottom lay. Now the God stops, okay, because he sees that, perceive means to see. He sees that at the bottom now the last blessing is remaining, and that is rest, aram. Now God stops there. Why? Because God thinks that, should I give this blessing to man or not? Now let's see what happens in the third stanza. Again, the third stanza has the same rhyming scheme, the same pattern. For if I should, God said that if I should bestow this jewel also on my creature means man. God thinks that if I give away this jewel, which jewel? Rest. If I give away this jewel to my creature, then he would adore my gifts instead of me. Okay. So the God thinks that I want to give everything to my children, to my son, the man. So he gives away power, honor, pleasure, everything, wisdom and all. But then he stops. He says that if I give away the last thing, that is rest, to man, then this man will start respecting, will start adoring my gifts more than me. So the God thinks that if I give everything away to this man, then he will never remember me, he will never come back to me. So that's why I will be a loser, and man will also be the loser. So in the fourth stanza, God says, yet let him keep the rest, but keep them with repining restlessness. He says that Okay, I will give away this last thing also. Okay, the rest will be given to him, given to man, but then he said that I will give him only after repining restlessness. So, after much effort, after so many efforts only, man will be given rest. Let him be rich and weary. God makes us rich, but God also makes us very means tired. We need to put in so many efforts in order to be rich people. We need to put in so many attempts, hard work, in order to enjoy the rest. So rest actually comes after restlessness. That is what God thinks and decides. He said that the person who puts in so much effort, hard work in his life will only achieve rest. If goodness lead him not, yet weariness may toss him to my breast. So God thinks that, if at all man is good, he will not come back to me. Only if I make him weary, then and then only this man will come back to me. But God is merciful, and that's why he decides to give this rest at the end. So all in all, this is the basic idea that George Herbert wanted to present through this poem. So the ultimate theme, the central idea of this poem is that, God had a plan to make man rich, but this richness, according to God, will come only after much restlessness. Okay, it will come only after much effort and hard work. Okay, so through this deliberate withholding, the poem suggests that human weariness and restlessness and the struggle are the integral part of our journey of achieving something. When the aeroplane flies high up above in the sky, it has to run fast, first of all, on the land while taking off. So the plane has to put in much effort in order to fly high in the sky. In the same manner, in our journey of salvation, of spiritual wisdom, we need to put in so many efforts to achieve richness, to achieve spiritual richness in our life. So that is the basic idea that Herbert wanted to explain. In this poem, the pulley has been taken as a metaphor. You must have seen the pulley. You look at this picture. This is the picture of pulley, where pulley is used as a tool to lift something. Okay, God wanted to lift man. If you want to achieve height, you need a pulley, and restlessness is the metaphor of pulley. So all in all, you can say that this poem has used this clever metaphor to show how God gave humanity everything. He has given us so many gifts like strength, wisdom, pleasure, honor, but kept one thing with him, and that is rest. The final gift of rest, which is missing from his other blessings, encourages us to turn to God for comfort and fulfillment. All in all, it is a religious poem. It spreads a very important message that in our life, if we want to achieve salvation, moksha, then we need to put in so many efforts. We need to be wary. We need to have restlessness in order to achieve rest at the end. So that's all I wanted to tell you. Thank you for watching. Thank you.